All right, so looking at body paragraphs, we've already done this with our Great Depression last week, but I wanted to do a quick overview to make sure you fully understand everything you need to have in your body paragraphs, and you're going to have a chance this week to unsubmit your body paragraph to fix anything that needs to be fixed and then to resubmit it for a grade. Some tips for note taking, because you should be taking notes when you watch these videos because this is important information that you're going to need. So I would pause the video, get out your notebook and a pencil or pen and get ready to go. So pause me and get you your stuff. So some quick tips for note taking. So let's read through these real quick. These are not things you need to write down. This is just things to remind you. You do not have to have notes that are in complete sentences. That would be crazy. You need to take notes in a way that's comfortable for you, that's going to help you remember, whether you make a mind map or just an outline, or you just write it down, or you put it in blocks, or you indent, or anything that makes it simple for you. You can abbreviate, use symbols. Okay, keep them short and sweet and to the point so that you remember the precise information that you need. You may change the wording of the information that's given to you, but don't change its meaning. That's the most important part. And if you run out of room, don't worry about it because we are not using our interactive notebook in the same way, so you don't have to worry about attaching anything. You have your whole notebook to do what you need to do with it. So, start taking notes, and here we go. So the whole reason we have a body paragraph is because you need that information, that evidence to support what you're talking about. You can't just take something someone says at face value. You have to be able to prove it, and you prove that with evidence. As you get older, you'll be able to understand that you need to be able to decide and choose, and the best way to do that is to know what proof is out there to support, whether you're arguing or whether you're just learning information. Because the internet gives you tons of information, going and searching and really combing through it so that you know what is actually truth, because anybody can put anything out there and what is not. And so body paragraphs are kind of that. They help prove the truth to what you're discussing. Okay, so its purpose is to provide support for that thesis statement, that main idea sentence. You need to use examples that are from the text. You need to show relationships among them. So it shouldn't be just random things. It should relate to each other. They should be consistent. If you are writing about the loss of jobs, then your evidence should be showing how the parents or the worker or whoever you're talking about didn't have a job, and so they did other things to try and make up for the fact that they lost their job. Or the fact that they didn't have money would also come from loss of jobs. Using your text evidence and then explaining. That elaborative technique means to explain, and we're going to get into that in just a little bit. So you need to make sure when you do your body paragraph, you peel your EELS. All right, so here are the things that you want to do when you write a body paragraph. Okay, you want to begin with one topic at a time. So in your thesis, the effects of the Great Depression were loss of jobs, no money in a rough time, but the hope of the New Deal. There are my 3 reasons, my 3 points. So each paragraph is going to focus on one of those points, and that becomes your point sentence. So you only do one of those per paragraph. Okay? And so we want to have a transition that leads us into our paragraphs in a more professional way. Doing first, next, second, last, those are not the best way anymore. Those worked in elementary school, but now they're in middle school. We need to kick them up a notch. So for your very first body paragraph, I want you just to go ahead and lead straight into your point sentence. No transition necessary. But then when you get to your second body paragraph, I want you to use the word also, comma, and then go ahead into your second body, and then you don't have to have one necessarily for your third body paragraph, and then your conclusion with the all in all. But we will talk about transitions, and I will give you a list of them and show you which paragraphs they fit with the best, so then you have some options for you to use. You should always have 2 pieces of evidence for every paragraph. No more, no less. You need to support whatever your topic is with 2 pieces of evidence to really show, hey, you know what? They really didn't have money because look at what they had to do with your evidence. Always provide your source and always explain it. Some don'ts. Don't give more than one topic in a paragraph. So if you're talking about no jobs, then don't start talking about no money, because that would be your next paragraph. You need to just focus on the fact that they didn't have a job or they lost their jobs and dad had to do odds and end things to make ends meet, or farmers weren't able to grow their crops to make money, those types of things. Do not use transitions that are first, second, third, next, finally, and do not use I. Do not use you. You are not talking to somebody, and you are not talking about yourself involved in that. You did not live through the Great Depression if we're referring to this particular writing. Okay, you guys are not that old. But you're not talking to somebody, you're talking about it all together. So you need to use that third person pronouns, the him, the her, they, it, that type of stuff that we've talked about in the past. When you do your evidence, always, always, always put your sources. Always put your sources. That means according to, and then give me the article title. That's what you want to focus on. That can go before you state your evidence or after you state your evidence. You could go ahead and throw your evidence down and say, found from the article, blah, blah, blah. However you want to do it, but the source should be there. I would prefer you to paraphrase, meaning you take the information from the text, put it in your own words, but if you do direct quote it, make sure you put those quotation marks around it and make sure it supports your topic. You must reference your source. As Yoda would say, 2 pieces of evidence, body paragraph, must have. With elaboration also means to explain. This means that you're extending your evidence. It means you're helping me to understand it and to relate to what you're talking about. If there was something you liked doing and you were trying to teach me, you would tell me in your own way. And that's exactly what your elaboration or your explaining should be. Nothing from the text, completely from you, just helping me to understand that evidence just a little bit more. Basically, one more time, we peel our EELS. We have our topic sentence, which is our point, evidence with our source, we elaborate or explain, and then that L that was in there, that's optional. I just left it out because most of you won't use it, and go straight into the EELS, another piece of evidence with the source, explain that piece of evidence, link everything back to your original point sentence with, hey, this is how people lost their jobs during the Great Depression, and then also a sentence to conclude and to wrap it all up. And again, you could link and do your sentence to conclude all at the same time in the same sentence if that works best for you. So again, this is how we peel our EELS. You need to learn point, evidence with source, elaboration, link optional, evidence with source, elaboration, link, sentence to conclude. You just need to keep going over and over in your head because you are going to have another test on this after the winter break, and you need to learn how this works because this is exactly what you need to do when you put your body paragraphs together for your essays. If you do this, you will have great success.